Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So, Rings of Power embargo has lifted. A lot of places have been very positive about it. Some places haven't. And I thought we would cover probably the most egregious example of paid advertising, which is Entertainment Weekly. Now, why do I say that? Well, I mean, really, you only have to take a look at this, right? This is their review. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power is kind of a catastrophe, right? That's their review. But meet 13 key characters. We've got Step into Middle-earth with EW's exclusive power players inside Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I mean, it's been months of this. Absolutely months. And they've done so much stuff for The Rings of Power. Genuinely huge things. Massive, massive, massive stuff. Those insanely cringe videos where like the cast is like walking past and the camera pans are like, oh, all this kind of stuff. Entertainment Weekly. Awful stuff. And then again, it comes out. The embargo drops. Oh yeah, it's kind of a catastrophe actually. This is that cringe piece of shit. What on earth is this? What are they actually doing? Power players. Seriously, what is this? Good grief. Good grief. Anyway, so give this appendix an appendectomy. This is a brutal review, ladies and gents. Absolutely brutal. There are ways to do a prequel, and Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power does them all wrong. So when I've sat there and said, yeah, these reactions coming out are probably shills, and people were like, oh, shut up, you're talking absolutely not. No, ladies and gents, mainstream media you do have to take with a pinch of salt. Entertainment Tonight, Entertainment Weekly, whatever it is, has been slamming out all of this stuff. I mean, proper slamming it out. And that's because it was paid for. And it's difficult to, discern which is paid for and which is authentic. It takes 6 or 7 things everyone remembers from the famous movie trilogy, adds a water tank, that's that Galadriel scene of all water, makes nobody fun, teases mysteries that aren't mysteries, and sends the best character on a pointless detour. The latter is Uber Elf Galadriel. Oh my fucking god. Who spends the premiere telling people to worry about Sauron. In response, people tell her not to worry about Sauron. That's 1 hour down. 7 to go this season. Sound like $1 billion yet? This is brutal. J.R.R. Tolkien imagined Galadriel as an immortal who leaves a sun-swept garden paradise because she yearns to see the wide, unguarded lands of Middle-earth and to rule there a realm at her own will. Kate Blanchett played her in Peter Jackson's movies as a Vulcan witch for justice. The new Prime Video series, debuting with 2 episodes on Friday. Oh god, is that Friday? Soldiers her up on a vengeance kick. Millennia before Gollum, Galadriel is commander of the Northern Armies and the warrior of the wastelands. She free solos up a frozen mountain alongside an ultra mega waterfall. War claimed her brother and drenched the world in blood. She suspects vanquished Sauron still lingers and has hunted him for ageless decades. Most other elves think Sauron's gone forever. A lieutenant begs her to end the quest and go home because their search party is approaching a land where even sunlight fears to tread. This is not the only accidentally funny line, but it is the most brazenly dumb. Mr. Elf, Lieutenant, isn't the sun scaring shadow country exactly where you should look for the wicked god monster? Yeah, about right, to be fair. Oh my god. What a pile of poo. Galadriel narrates a history lesson prologue. There's a battle montage, Mordor weirdness, then a hard cut to halfling antics. This is the precise structure that began 2001's The Fellowship of the Ring feature. Nori Brandyfoot, Even looks like Elijah Wood's Frodo, all wide eyes and bushy hair. And the little Harfoot's journey begins with the arrival of a bearded outsider. Oh my god. Obvious reference points to the show. No Justice. In Fellowship, Jackson cranked a trip to underground Moria into a cinematic horror action comedy rock opera. When an equivalent setting appears here, it's big, bright and bland. It is where a dwarf complains to an elf, "You missed my wedding." What? The mood is stilted, dull. They ride an elevator. This review. Remember, ladies and gents, they banged on about this, covered so much of it, and their review is like, yeah, it's shit. So take these reviews always with a pinch of salt, like all the media that comes out before it. And it was a real bad sign, the fact that the embargo didn't release until 2 days before the actual series released. That is always a bad sign. There's no spoilers to reveal in this show, ladies and gents. We know what happens. Despite all the streaming war headlines, this series is nothing like HBO's concurrent Game of Thrones spin-off House of Dragon. Family drama plus dragons. The 2 Rings of Power episodes I've seen feel more like an 8-hour Infinity War with desperate goods coalescing toward a big bad. The one thread that feels new concerns Arondir and Bronwyn. Star-crossed in a disputed land. He's an elf patrolling unruly humans who call him nasty names like Knife Ears. Oh my god, she's a single mum whose sweet chats with Arondir cause social ruckus. Tensions are generational. Arondir remembers when the locals fought for evil. Bronwyn's fellow villagers despise the occupying force left over from a conflict no human remembers. I don't think Tolkien intended his elves to seem a tad fascist. Wow. And Jackson didn't worry about casting an ensemble of white British guys and white Americans talking British. Rings of Power casually diversifies its fictional races, a casting decision that's thankfully normal in contemporary fantasy, but unlike, say, House of Dragon, this series also briefly takes fantasy world racism seriously. Oh my god. The humans don't like Arondir, the Harfoots fear everyone else. What have elves ever done to you? Galadriel asks, jerky Halbrand, a human running from a brutal past. This is terrible. Foregrounding interspecies anxiety is certainly a new Middle-earth take. I worry it won't last. Violent forces converge quickly around Arondir and Bronwyn, which means those actors get one flirty scene before the action ramps up. A dwarf elf alliance looms, Fellowship of the Ring. There may be bigger things to worry about than, like, interpersonal relations. People keep finding a strange, scary sigil. So congratulations, Rings of Power writers. You brought Sauron to television and made him a TV serial killer. Fucking hell. Oh, this is so bad. What do we want from Lord of the Rings now? Tolkien tapped a well of myth. Well, he created his own myth. At once elemental and postmodern, dragooning ancient moods of dark wizardry, fairy lore toward brave new worlds of superpower planetary terror. He produced 4 proper novels, followed by the Silmarillion, posthumously collated, totally awesome, and then half a century of the dead writer version of Lost 2-pack tapes. Oh my god, this is terrible. You'd think a new tale would want to explore less travelled corners of Tolkien's wide, unguarded lands, and Rings of Power does conjure the elves' previously unseen homeland, Valinor, into embarrassing ways. First, it's a babbling brook where cute kids frolic. Then it's a heavenly light ray pouring out of parting clouds. The latter is almost a Monty Python special effect, and that's before one person decides against the furthest stretch of fantasy logic to swim across an ocean. Oh, Jesus. Otherwise, the first 2 hours stick to... Oh my god, stick to seen it before places and boring situations. Officious cliff-adjacent elves. Proffer blank wisdom. The same wind that seeks to blow out a fire may also cause it spread. Yeah, obviously. Nori says, Chosen One thinks, it's like there's a reason this happened. Like I was supposed to find him. Oh, wow. Wow, this is truly terrible. This is embarrassing. I did see a funny joke on Twitter that was like, this is going to be the only series that if it fails, you know, like the price of your detergent's going to go up. Anyway, the most egregious representation of Shill media right here from Entertainment Weekly. They got paid to do these articles after articles. Their review comes out. Yeah, it's a catastrophe. It's a joke. Check it. Check it and be careful before you take it too seriously, ladies and gents. Take care.